Hi, it is the Human Operating System time. This channel is for education and technology only. Today, I'd like to share with you something which is very important. And what I'm going to share with you will change the way how we practice Qigong, meditations, internal art, Tai Chi, and traditional Chinese martial art here on. The titles of today's sharing is by using Coros, Garmin, and Polar Watch, a personalized, repeatable, and quality Qigong training is possible. Now, some of us might not understand what I'm talking about here. However, no worry, just follow me, and by the end of this video, you will have a clear view on what is going on. Now, let's ask a simple question. How many millions of Qigong, meditations, Tai Chi practitioners exist today in this world? And how many of these practitioners get solid benefit from their practice? Or they are just wishing blindly that someday they will get benefit? This is a serious question today, because most of the Qigong, meditations, Tai Chi, internal art, traditional Chinese martial art practice is not measurable, is opinion-based. Now, to solve this opinion-based problem, we need to bring science into it. We need to map the Qigong, meditations, Tai Chi, internal art practice into modern science. As what Nikola Tesla said, the day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than in all the previous century of its existence. In fact, this is the time need to do so that everyone get benefit from their Qigong, meditations, and Tai Chi and traditional Chinese martial art practice. Now, to get into this mapping the ancient Chinese technology of Qigong, meditations, internal art into science, we need to look at one term, and that is the recovery. What recovery is important for human wellness. It is especially critical for today's high productivity living and high intensity sport. High productivity living without recovery will cause burnout. High intensity sport without recovery will not get the performance and might cause injury. So, recovery is very important for human. Now, for thousands of years, Chinese has been worked deeply in the area of recovery. So the Qigong and the internal art, the Tai Chi, the Chinese healing art, all are based on recovery. And in fact, the Anapanasati meditation system taught by Buddha on mindfulness, breathing, has also influenced the Chinese recovery practice. So the Qigong and the meditations practice of the Chinese today from thousands of years ago has been influenced by the Buddha's teaching of Anapanasati. Now, what I'm talking about here on the Chinese, on the Buddha's teaching, these are not philosophy or religion. Recovery within this Chinese practice and the Buddha's teaching is based on a technology to lead one into the physiological state of recovery. So it is very critical to know the technology instead of talking philosophy or believe in some sort of a belief. In order to be able to recover, one needs to get into the physiological state of recovery. So we need to pay close attention to recovery. Now, what is a recovery state? What is the recovery state? We said here that recovery is based on a technology to lead one into the physiological state of recovery. So what is the recovery state? Well, in my book Wing Chun Inception, I map the ancient Chinese Qigong into sports science, where now it is mapped into the sports science with this H model, which is based on heart rate zone. Like this is the resting heart rate, this is a different heart rate zone, and here we have a different physiological state. And we know today the state of recovery is between the resting heart rate and the first heart rate zone. That is the state which is the ancient Chinese have to get in if in their practice when they want to get the outcome of recovery, be the healing art or mindfulness or internal power, they always need to get into the state between the heart rate of resting heart rate and the heart rate zone 1. And for those who is advanced, like enter into the samadhi or stillness, their heart rate, resting heart rate will go decreasing with their breathing rate per minute decreasing. Okay? So that is the deep recovery state. Now, there's a term which is used by the Chinese to describe this. The basic of this recovery state is the nurture qi. So again, in Wing Chun Inceptions, I have presented clearly what is nurture qi based on the classic of the Chinese document in the Qigong and meditations practice. So, nurture qi psychological state is a deep rest state. Okay? We know that at this state, the heart rate is dropping. So, nurture qi physiological state is a deep rest state. It is the foundations of recovery, healing, meditation, and mindfulness for all the traditional Chinese Qigong, meditations, internal art practice. Okay? So another word is if one wants to achieve recovery, one need to get into the deep rest state. And the Chinese call this deep rest state nurture qi physiological state, or nurture energy. Qi is energy for the Chinese. So this is how we link now recovery with healing, meditations, mindfulness, and the heart rate. And here, heart rate variability, and this is the heart and breathing synchronizations. So if one wants to accomplish quiet mind or mindfulness, natural deep breathing, one need to get into this state. Or again, if one wants to attain samadhi, one need to get into the state. In the ancient Chinese record, in healing the body, to enter into this state is a must. So that is recovery state. And now we can map it into sports science, and we know the heart rate conditions of the state. Now, the question will be, so how to enter into the nurture qi physiological state? And how to verify the entering and the result of nurture qi physiological state? As we know here, recovery is based on a technology to leading one into the physiological state of recovery. So we need the technology. In fact, the ancient Chinese do have a common denominator technology to get into the nurture qi or recovery state. And in the Wing Chun Inceptions, the technology or the process for nurture qi, deep rest, recovery is presented. So we today have the technology. A simple and repeatable N1 process for nurture qi, deep rest, or recovery is presented in Wing Chun Inception. So in a really simple way, in order to nurture qi, one need to get into the natural world from the intelligent world, meaning drop your thinking, meaning you need to handle your body in a certain way, your breathing in a certain way, and you need to drop your mind to get into that. And it is not philosophy or religion. It has to be a process of how to handle the body, mind, and breathing in order to get to the nurture qi or deep rest or recovery state. So in Wing Chun Inceptions, there's the N1 process, and there's theory behind it, explained clearly step by step. So it is intended to make this process engineering way so that everybody can follow it and be able to get quality, repeatable result. No more guessing, no more wishing. You practice it, you have to get it within hours. And after that, within minutes, you can get there. So in the Wing Chun Inceptions, we have the N1 process steps, which is the technology to get into recovery or nurture qi. And it is make use of the countdown timer setting. and it has to rely on today's heart rate monitoring and so forth. So let's look into the device, the wearable device we have today, which can help or which can implement the N1 process for nurturing qi. Now, the wearable device make training scientific and effective and yield repeatable quality result is the Coros Garmin Polar. Okay, so here on there's no more guessing without getting result. Coros, Garmin, Polar all have their strength to help one to get result from the recovery training or the nurture qi training or deep rest training, as you like to name it. So like for example, the Coros, they have the heart rate monitoring, the temperature, the SpO2, which is the basic. And then in the Garmin, you have the heart rate, you got the body battery, you got the breathing monitoring capability. With the Polar, you get the heart rate variability or autostatic test, the energy, and the night charge for the ANS, autonomic nervous system recovery. So all of those devices all have their strength, okay? Even though they are different, to the minimum, they have the basic which is needed for implement the N1 process. Now let's take a look in the verifications of N1 process, recovery result and quality with heart rate variability using Polar, Garmin, and the heart rate for training apps. Okay, so this is in the Wing Chun Inception. First, this is from Polar Vantage V, and you got the heart rate, the dropping. You see the dropping of the heart rate when one practice or carry out the process. And so this is from the heart rate for training, where at the beginning you have the RMSD of 22.4, and at the end of carry out or practice the process, one get the heart rate variability of 29.9. That's the increase of the RMSD, okay? That show the recovery there. And also with the Garmin Phoenix 6, one can see the heart rate going downward while practicing with the N1 process. And one can see the stress level starting from 38, it drops down to 16. So via Polar, Garmin, and heart rate variability for training, we know that this process works. We know that it works. And now we be able to measure it, because it has been quantified to your heart rate and heart rate variability. Now, in the Wing Chun Inception book, the N1 process is solid under different wellness conditions. So if we look at the implementations of the N1 process to get into the recovery or deep rest state, the heart rate always going downward when one practice it. And in these three cases, in the Wing Chun Inceptions, is when a person have a different well conditions. One can see that by practicing the N1 process, the heart rate, this is the heart rate beat per minute, is going downward, okay, getting lesser, decreasing. And on the other day, when one is less fit, less well, you see it start with a higher heart rate and it going down, but it is not going down as rapid as this. It still travel to the in the downward direction. Now, if one is really not well that day, like not sleeping for 3 days or something, you see it start with this 96 and it gradually going down to 80. It doesn't go under 80 or 50% of the maximum heart rate. Okay, so this one in a good day, when the body is well, it just drop down. It start around this area, and then it going down lower, much lower than the 50% of maximum heart rate. This one, when one is sick or tired, the heart rate will go down, even though it doesn't going as low as when one is in a good day. So we know in this H model that if one want to achieve deep recovery, one's heart rate will have to drop. The heart rate variability have to going up, okay, or increasing. And that's how the ancient Chinese practice was done or get the result. So without seeing that the heart rate going down or the heart rate variability going up, then one really know that one do not have the result. One might even not practice it properly. So with the N1 process, which is the common denominator of the ancient traditional Chinese practice of meditations, of Qigong, of internal art, we now have a basic common denominator process which can be verified scientifically with technology, and we know it is repeatable and it gives quality result. Okay? Now, this is not the end of the story. With Coros, my training programming in Coros, okay, the feature in the Coros, there's a training programming ability for Coros. One can coding the N1 process step into the Coros strength program for automation coaching. Meaning one can code the step-by-step N1 process into the Coros strength program and let the Coros strength program coach one or guide one step by step while practicing the N1 process. Meaning, the Coros programming will be able to help one to go from the normal down to the recovery physiological state or nurture chi recovery states. Nurture chi states, physiological state. Just following the Coros coaching. So that is the automation coaching. So now this is the program here. There is eight steps, actually 8 steps in the process, in the N1 process. Okay, so there are 8 steps. So the 8 steps is coding into here. For example, the first step, it takes 1.2 minutes, and then 40 seconds, 40 seconds, 40 seconds, and one get into this, the major steps, where this rests for 16 minutes, and then this is get up from the state. So it is, another word, it is get into the state. This is the recovery state, or the nurturing state, and then get out of it. So here, all this cool down thing is actually get into the state. This rest is stay in the state, or stay in the nurture chi or recovery state, and this warm up is gradually get out from the state. What, as in the book of Wing Chun Inception explained to you, you don't want to shock your body. You bring the body and mind and breathing into this recovery or the deep rest or the nurture chi states, and then when you get it out, you need to get it out slowly so that you don't shock the body. It's like when you are in deep sleep, you think about deep rest, it's like your deep sleep, like a baby. You don't want to shock your body right away. You want to get it out gradually. And with this programming, it is possible for one practice the N1 process. Just listen to the beep made by the Coros wearable, the Coros watch. It beeps when it is time up for that particular steps, and then one proceed to the next, proceed to the next, proceed to the next, proceed to the next. So with the Coros training programming, this is possible now. It is automation. Okay. Now, for the Coros, it will be nice if we have the usual defined naming feature. You see here I all using cool down, cool down, cool down, cool down. In the real world, this is actually balance the weight in the buttocks area. This is balance the weight in the neck area. This is the shoulder area. This is the shoulder blade area, and this is weighting. So all of this, it would be nice if the naming, I can change it into the to the usual defined naming, so we know exactly what it is. And also, if later on there will be voice instruction generated, then there's even more real coaching, because one don't have to memorize, okay, now beep, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do that. Now there is a voice instruction. You balance the weight of the part of the body, and then the next instruction come. Okay? So with this today, we can actually implement the N1 process step. Everybody be able to do it. With a training of half an hour, one be able to achieve what most can spend decades in meditation and Qigong and internal art cannot achieve. Okay? So why do I say that? Well, because there's a result. You see this? Coros Strength Program, N1 Process Step Automation Executions, and Workout Heart Rate Monitoring. Now, associate with this, you see that? That 8 step there? At every step, I know the average heart rate. In this case, you see it's from 73 at the beginning, and it dropped down to 63. And it stayed there for 16 minutes. So it stayed there for 16 minutes. once we drop the heart rate, right? So we drop the heart rate, we get into the recovery or the deep rest state. Over here, this is a heart rate of 63. We stay there. Okay, the average is 63. That's for 16 minutes. And then you get back up. See, this is the warm up. This is start to wake up. From 63 back to 72. So anybody, if they just follow the instructions of the process step, they can get that. They can get this, enter into the state and get out from the state. And if you look at the real life, okay, this is the average heart rate. The real life, this is at 0.7 second in the beginning of the practice of N1 process. The heart rate is 76. By the 7 minutes or 8 minutes, 43, it get down to the 60 already. And it stay there up to the 17.55 minutes. It stay at the 61. Okay, so you see the thing and it come up. Okay, this is getting into the state, stay in the state, and then coming up. So this is possible now. So with this, precise learning is possible. When one learn Qigong, or one learn internal art or meditations, one can know at every step whether one perform or not, one practice properly or not. I was joking the other day with a friend. I said if Buddha exists today, probably he want to give a Coros to every monk, every Buddhist monk in the world. And he can just sitting in Silicon Valley checking people's average heart rate to see whether their meditations is real meditations or the monk is daydreaming. Okay? So it is possible now for the teacher to check the student, and the student be able to know at which states they are doing good or they are not doing as good. Okay, so they be able to self-diagnosis with this. And of course, the execution will be with this now. One of the major thing in recovery is stop thinking. You don't want to think. You want to use your awareness. And with the instructions, in this case for now is the beeping, and when it's time up is beeping. You know what you need to do for next. You will execute the practice with this. You don't have to worry, and again, you don't fall into sleep because it always beep you. Instead of you just go doze off, okay, in meditations, and without getting a result because you're going to dreaming there, okay. So it have this capability now. And another thing is personalizations. Well, it is very critical that for us to have personalization in the real recovery practice. Why? Because everybody is different. In this case, like this is actually balancing the weight of the buttocks. This is balancing the weight of the neck. If one found out that at these steps, one need more time, one need to personalize it. Okay, one need to change it because not everybody is the same. And also at the resting, this is 16 minutes. If one have a better practice and be able to do 30 minutes, one can increase this. Okay, so that is completely be able to personalize. And finally, of course, like now in the COVID-19 time, distant learning is possible, and it is with quality. Like the joke I'm making just now on Buddha sit in Silicon Valley just to browse the heart rate of the meditation monk. Now, the coach can do this, can use this to train their student, can check on their student. So, this is a very powerful thing. This is going to change the way how one practices Qigong meditations and internal art and so forth. Because now, very clearly, we can get result. Seriously, if one follow this, one can get result and will be able to handle the entering of the state in a few hours or a few days time better than those who are sitting in meditations, mindfulness, counting breath for decades or even lifetime. Because now we quantify the thing. We know exactly what is proper, what is not proper, what need to change, where is the problem need to solve. So that's what we have, and Coros have that today. Okay, and I just hope that I wish that the user-defined naming is available soon, so that because there are so many different processes. Okay, this is just a basic process for the Nezhua Qi, and so everybody can share this. Okay, this is like a formula for getting into the Nezhua Qi. Now, finally, as a summary, ancient recovery training can be mapped into science, have a clear process step, result can be verified, as what I just showed you. Okay, it can be quantified, what you practice can be quantified, can be measured, can be verified, can be personalized. Okay, we have the technology today. And also, repeatable quality result for wellness practice such as Qigong, Tai Chi, meditation is now made possible with wearable devices such as Coros, Garmin, and Polar. Well, say people practice Tai Chi, moving meditation, and if you have the steps for them, like your standing meditations, you program the Coros for this many minutes, and then you go practice your Tai Chi. At the same time, it instructs you, at the same time, it checks your heart rate. If you practice for recovery, it's better to be here. For warm up, cool down, it's better to be here. For your aerobic conditioning, it's better has to be here. So whether one's Tai Chi practice is proper or not, well, again, you can just see it for yourself. And your teacher will be able to see it. And your teacher will have to show how is this. Okay? So there's no guessing with there. So this is just a beginning of a new era. For the next, what is going to come is the full AI automation personalized coaching. That will come, that's for sure, in years. Because once you have this type of programming and you put some AI machine learning feedback, you'll be able to do that. Okay? And so what many people today might spend a lifetime guessing, you'll be able to get it in hours. So this is what I'd like to share with you today. This is a different world. It's like that movie, right? Total, this is not Kansas City anymore. So welcome to the new world, and you know the devices is there. Everybody can very objectively look at their practice.